Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's Cosmic Energy reading. I'm Corinne, and today is July 1st. I can't believe that it's July 1st, and I know that that's something that we probably all of us say at the beginning of every month, but I don't know where June went. That happened really quickly, and we're ready to rock and roll. So, July 1st, today's Monday, and we have the sun in gate 39, which is the gate of recalibration in quantum human design. And it's also called the gate of obstruction and the gate of provocation in traditional human design. And the story in the I Ching, the story behind this gate, it's obstruction. It's you are standing before the ocean and you're trying to get where you're going, but the ocean has appeared and now the ocean is in your way and you're at the shore. At your back is a mountain. And so there's really nowhere to go behind you and there's really nowhere to go forward and you're kind of at a standstill. And it's a moment for recalibration. It's a moment to take pause and reassess and kind of get strategic about the things that are going to help you move forward towards your goal. This energy is about recognizing where we are stuck or blocked and using that awareness to make those adjustments that we need. It's a time to identify the things that are causing obstruction and shedding the garbage and releasing the things that aren't working because they are actually the things that are holding you back. And it's a period of time where we have a moment where we can actually recalibrate. Like the quantum name for this energy, it's really a perfect word, recalibration. Like we're all at all times always moving toward what we're trying to achieve, but we're going to hit walls at all times. We're going to come up against things that are blocking the way. And we can't focus too far on consistently moving forward if we're stuck, right? If we're going to try to fight through the ocean, we're going to drown. And if we're going to try to go backward across the mountain, we're not going to have the energy we need to get through it. So in one of the stories in the I Ching talks about the leaky boat. If you get into your boat and your boat springs a leak, the first job is to plug that leak. It's not to just row faster to get across the other side. So you have to take a moment and identify the things that are causing the obstruction so that you can find the remedy for them so that you can continue on the path that you are on. And sometimes that obstruction is actually telling you, hey, you know what, you're actually going in the wrong direction and it's time to make that shift. And so the obstruction piece is about teaching us how to view obstacles as opportunities for growth and opportunities to redirect our energy, because we are constantly moving and we are meant to follow the thing that is actually the most easeful. And when we are forcing things and we are pushing through timing and pushing through obstacles, what if we didn't do it that way? What if we sat back and reassessed and took stock and took inventory and recalibrated truly down to the core thing that's in the way? And what's interesting about this solar energy, the 39 recalibration, is the sun. And as I talk about every single week, the sun energy is where we're trying to get really harnessed in, but the way that we do that is by grounding into the earth energy. And the earth is in gate 38, which is called the visionary in quantum human design. It is also called opposition and the fighter in the I Ching and in traditional human design. And what this is all about is the ability to discern what's worth standing up for, what is worth committing your energy to. It's about standing for what you believe in and staying true to your personal mission, right? It's about using struggle as a way to get really clear. And I think about when I was preparing my notes for sharing my report with you this week, I was reminded this past weekend, we held my nonprofit. I run a nonprofit called Rowan Tree Foundation, where we provide bereavement support to families after the death of a child. And one of the grounding mission statements that we have, one of our main tenets at Rowan Tree Foundation, is that it's really important to live with your grief, not in your grief. And you do that by finding meaning and pursuing purpose and honoring the life of the child that we're mourning so that we can live fully, right? And the way that actually, the reason why I'm sharing it with you today is because the earth gate, the energy of the opposition, the energy of the visionary is, I've been through some stuff, I've seen some things, and those things caused me to shift my priorities. And I'm not talking about me and I've been through some things, because we've all been through some things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be tragedy. It can just be strife. And anything that we deal with, when we come through the other side of it, we come out the other side of it a different person. And when we come out the other side of it, one of the first things that happens is we recalibrate our priorities. We reassess what is important to us, what is valuable to us. And we say, you know what? I no longer care about that or that, but this is something that actually matters to me. And I think that when I speak to a lot of the things that happen with my nonprofit, with that community of grief and loss, I'm talking to people who have seen the dark, right? They've been through some stuff, and we all have come through that, changed. And, you know, a big piece of that change is really an adjustment in what really does matter, like joy and sadness and, struggle and all the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis because we're human beings. Whenever we're able to work through something that is causing us to have strife, we come through that, and you can't help it. It's an automatic process to reassess. And so the earth energy for this week is gate 38. It's called opposition. It's called the visionary. And it's really all about the ability to know what it is that's worth committing to, what it is that's worth striving for and holding on to, and maintaining the energy toward. Because as we move through things, we find that there are certain things that just aren't worth our time. And that is, it's really important, I think, to focus on that. And especially, as entrepreneurs in our business, we come through things and we're constantly iterating, and we're constantly working, and we're constantly, making offers and pulling back. And, and I do that all the time. We just don't know until we know. But once we learn, we have to adjust. And this is not like a sink or swim kind of a thing. It's more about not wasting your energy. Like, our energy is precious, and our attention is precious, and our focus is creative. Like, where we focus grows. And so we want to make sure that we're growing the things that are worth growing, so that our life becomes, or continues to become, or capital B becomes more of what we want, to allow us to have the truest fulfillment and, be who we came here to be. So, this interplay between recalibration and visionary energy offers like this really powerful framework for refining our strategies, refining our plans. And that's one of the themes for this week in the membership. It's all about refining our content strategy, because our content strategy is our outward facing messaging. It's what we're talking about. It's what we're standing for. It's what we're trying to bring other people into, right? So, as we look at our approach to things, as we look at the things that have been in our way, the things that have obstructed our progress, and we start to recalibrate and look for different solutions, we can also start to reassess our priorities and figure out, what is it that's worth standing here with? What is it that's worth fighting for? What is it that's worth committing to and holding on to as time goes on? And it's really, I find these two gates to be really juicy. And at all times, I find that the sun and the earth, the interplay between the two, they actually do really relate to each other. Like, the earth does actually support us in the striving toward the sun energy. But This week is especially on point, I think, especially for us as entrepreneurs, because we're always trying to be practical, tactical in the world, hands-on, doing our business. And, I think that the energy of recalibration and, that visionary energy really does speak to what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. And supporting us in this energy, we have the outer planets, which are still in the places where they've been for the last couple of weeks or several weeks. We have Pluto in gate 60, which is all about that conservation energy. It's trying to hold on to the past, but the way that we move through that in the positive way is to focus on what's working, right? The more that we can focus on what's working, the more that we will continue to push forward. And one of the best ways to do that is through a solid gratitude practice. And yet again, gratitude has nothing to do with being grateful because there's people going without. Gratitude is all about where I feel joy because I feel joy. I feel joy in this thing because this thing brings me joy. And that's gratitude. That's staying here in this moment and pushing forward. And hey, I want more of that stuff. Neptune is in gate 25, which is the gate of spirit. And this is all about trusting that there's something big out there for all of us. And we are here for a purpose. And that does not mean that you have to, become famous and well known for doing the thing. Like, our purpose is who we be, and we are meant to be who we are here to be. And when we are able to fully embody our true authentic self, our true authentic nature without fear, we start to send out a ripple out into the world, and everybody around us sees it and they're like, whoa, like, how do I have some of what she's having? How do I have some of what he's having? And the answer to that is not, here, have some of what I'm having. It's, here's how you can find yours, because we're all meant to do our own thing. We're not meant to do the same thing as everybody else. Also supported in that is Uranus in gate 8, which is the gate of fulfillment, which is all about that relentless authenticity. It's that true holding on to the your true self, like really stepping into, who am I? What do I stand for? And who do I show up as? And I've shared this before. Showing up is difficult as your authentic self. And this is not to say that we lie. It's more like we hide. We bend, we round out the edges. We are afraid to be truly who we are because we're going to be judged. And that's something that I think that's the work of Corinne for 2024, is to really step into my authenticity with courage and show up and be outward facing. And it's not a thing that I'm comfortable doing. So I find that to be an interesting lesson that keeps coming back to me this year. And then we also have Saturn and Jupiter. And Saturn is the teacher, right? It's the one that brings the lessons. And Jupiter is the blessings that we get when we actually do, learn the lesson, when we actually embody the spirit of what the lesson is. And so Saturn is still in gate 22, which is the gate of surrender. This is where we stop trying to force things and stop trying to control things and really try to put things back in, the hands of source. Put it on the universe's to-do list. Like, Jesus, take the wheel, let go and let God. Whatever language makes sense and resonates with you is perfectly fine. But we need to find a way to let it go, because we can't control everything. And so we have to get real about stuff, and then we have to just let it go. And when we are able to do that, what comes is the blessings from Jupiter. And that is in gate 16, it's the gate of enthusiasm, the gate of zest. It's about that, like, that contagious energy, talk about rippling out. It's when you are talking about something that just lights you up, you just literally are lit up, and that is sending that energy out. That's creating coherence, and it's calling more of that in, right? Because the stuff that we are radiating out, which is happening at all times, whether we all want it to or not, is the thing it's the magnet. That's the magnetic monopole that is calling everything back into us. We have this magnet inside of us, this magnetic force that only has one polarity, and it's only ever pulling it in. It only has one. it doesn't have a positive and negative. It only has the one thing. It's everything that we send out. It just ripples right back in. So we have to make sure that we are doing all that we can to be truly ourselves and to truly show up and to find the way through to that true fulfillment of, our purpose. And so this week, as the earth asks us to really sit with recalibration, do you trust that you are supported? Like, do you ask for support from the universe, from source, from God? And if you do you do so with the belief that you are deserving of that support? Because there's a lyric in a song, my favorite band of all time, who are coming to Red Rocks this weekend for 3 days of fabulous nights of concerts that I'll be going to. The Avett Brothers. There's this a line in a song, and it says, "Believing is the hardest part." And it is. It's the hardest part because you can't fake belief. If you don't truly believe, then that will be the under vibe of anything else that you do. And it's why when we try so hard to manifest and we try so hard to bring something into our lives and bring something into form, and it doesn't come to us, it's because the belief is not there all the way. Like we don't truly believe that it's for us, or we don't truly believe that we are supported, or we don't truly believe that we deserve that thing. And so, believing is the hardest part. And no truer words. I remember the first time I heard that line, I was like, oh my God, it's so true. So, what do you need to do to really get back in touch with that belief? How can you allow yourself to be supported more? How can you, deepen your connection and feel that you are deserving? How can you bolster all of the things that need to be bolstered in order for you to really get in there and release that fear, release that need for control? And the other side of the visionary is, are you dreaming big enough? Like, is the story that you're telling yourself about yourself big enough to hold all the things that you want to do? And if it's not, how can you tell a different story? Like, where can you tweak and push the edges out so that the margins are even wider and wider and wider? Because there is just so much available to all of us if only we really did know, like with a capital K, that it was something that was available to us. So when we identify the thing that we want to commit to, when we identify the thing that really does allow us to stand in our power, how do we hold on to that? How do we know that we can sustain that energy? And it's like understanding that there's just so much possible, and it's possible for us. Like we are creative beings, and desire is causative. And so how do we hold on to, that vision that allows us to dream that big possibility? And I think, that the earth and sun are the way to do that. So right now, it's all about recalibration. It's like, hey, there's an obstruction in front of us and there's an obstruction behind us, and we have no choice but to pause and take stock and recombobulate and make a plan and get strategic about what's going to come next. And I think that one of the things I think that is really, really hard for all of us, but especially for entrepreneurs, is standing still for a moment, right? We not only do we have like no attention spans anymore, but we feel like we're behind at all times. And I think that it's really vital that we trust that, there is such a thing as divine timing. There is such a thing as, right place, right people. And I think that when we slow down enough to allow for those things, we actually start to live our true path and not the path that everyone else is on. I think that, that we fall into that comparison thing where we are afraid that we're going to be left behind. We're afraid that everyone else is moving forward and doing this thing, and I'm not realizing any kind of gains. But, recalibration doesn't mean you're stopping for the rest of the year. It means that you're stopping maybe for the afternoon, maybe for the week, maybe, for the day. Just allow yourself to give yourself that time to get calibrated again, and to know that you are, fully supported, and you use the struggle and the obstacles that you've experienced as opportunities to revisit. Hey, am I still going where I want to be going? Is my why still being answered? Is my why still my why? My why might have changed because of struggle and strife. Our priorities can change. There's nothing static about us, right? So we are allowed to pivot at any time and at all times. And that's scary sometimes. And it also feels really empowering. And, if we don't feel like we're worthy of that kind of joy to be able to just pick the story today and start over, that can be really challenging. So I encourage you to take this time and sit down and take an assessment and recalibrate. Use this moment to look at the things that are in your way, that are blocking you in some way, that are blocking you actually from getting something done in your business, that are blocking you energetically from feeling like you are where you need to be. It's really important that we untangle the web of everything that's our life and snip off all the things that aren't in alignment. And, that is something that we can do every minute of every day. As soon as you identify that something's no longer in alignment, find a way to get rid of it. And what happens when you do that? What is magical life? What does magical living look like? I think that that's what happens when you do those things, because, the more you stand up for yourself enough to say, I am worth everything that I desire, that belief and that trust enables you, it empowers you to cut the ties with the things that no longer are holding you in that cause, right? If you were a hot air balloon and looking forward, you're in the basket and you're looking forward and you're pumping the heat and you're trying to raise the balloon, but you can't go and you don't know why. And you look behind you and you see all these things like rocks and things that are tied to the ground and stakes and ropes. And there's people holding on and they're holding you back. And, it takes a lot of courage to cut those ties. And I'm not saying to just break up with the world and move on. This is metaphorical as well as practical. But, really take a moment, take some stock and give yourself the gift of recalibrating this week. So, all right, that was a lot of recalibrating conversations for today's energy. And I'm really excited because this month actually is going to be refining our content strategy. So it's an opportunity to use the energy to kind of reassess and help us refine something in a real practical way for our businesses. And so I hope that you join me on that journey, and I'll see you there. Hello, Corinne here. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the podcast. If you like what I'm sharing here, then I have a special invitation for you. It's my brand new membership called Be Inward. We are growing a unique community that's redefining what it means to be a successful entrepreneur. It's a place where we constantly ask ourselves, what if we made well-being the goal? If you're tired of the constant hustle and feeling like you're never fully present in any aspect of your business, then check out Be Inward. It might be exactly what you've been searching for. I invite you to join a movement that embraces an integrated work and life philosophy where your business fuels your life and your life inspires your work. Take a whole new perspective on entrepreneurship that supports every aspect of your being, personal, professional, and spiritual. And there's the best part. Right now, you can become a founding member for just $33 a month. That's a little more than $1 a day. As a founding member, you not only lock in the lowest rate this membership will ever be, but you'll also get a say in shaping what Be Inward becomes as it grows. Right now, Be Inward offers guided practices based on monthly themes, weekly cosmic weather reports, human design education and coaching, group healing EFT sessions, live topical Q&A and learning sessions, instant access to our growing learning library of self-paced courses, and weekly co-working and accountability. Help us shape our vision. There's much more coming every day, so get organized, find more time, learn a new system, and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs who are walking the same path with you. So join me and join Be Inward, because who you be is all that matters. And you find out who you are by looking inward. Thank you.